Share my screen. Oops. Get off of this. Sorry about that. Okay. Hello, my name is Kaylee, and this is my project for my religion class on Scientology. So to start with the historical origin and important people, Scientology was founded by Lafayette Ron Hubbard in 1954. He wrote a book in 1950 called Dianetics, the Modern Science of Mental Health, which became kind of the spearhead for the religion, explaining the way he survived through the war in mental terms. Because he did serve in World War II, I believe, in the Navy or something to do with naval duty. The first picture on the left-hand side is L. Ron Hubbard, who, like I said, was the founder of Dianetics and later the Church of Scientology. The second picture is a picture of David Miscavige. I think I'm saying his name right. He took over leadership after Hubbard's death in 1986, and he was a member of and protege of Hubbard. So he kind of rose the ranks through Scientology and became kind of like he found favor in Hubbard's eyes, I believe. And then, of course, I had to throw Tom Cruise in there because everybody knows Tom Cruise is a Scientologist and probably the most famous example of a celebrity. He is one of the many celebrities who follow Scientology, along with John Travolta and his wife, which I actually will talk about her later. So yeah, of course, I had to include him. As for the timeline of the religion, it's a fairly new religion. It's only been around for 70 years. 70, 80 years, 75 maybe. So fairly new. Definitely not thousands of years old. So in 1911, L. Ron Hubbard was born. He was born in Tilden, Nebraska. There was another source that said he was born in Montana, but I'm pretty sure it was Nebraska. In the 1930s, he became known for his writings in science fiction. He wrote for magazines, and apparently they were good enough to be that's what he was known for. So apparently they were good. In 1950, he published Dianetics, the Modern Science of Mental Health. This was after he'd served in World War II. And so this was kind of his book on, hey, this is how I survived the war. This is what got me through. In 1952, he develops the electropsychometer. I think that's how you say it, or the E-meter for short, which measures signals in the body through the auditing process. And then for future reference, auditing is the process of ridding the mind of negative experiences, which I will touch on more later. The first picture actually on the right on the top is a picture of the E-meter. I'm not 100% sure how it works, but that received a lot of criticism for scientifically it's not accurate or something. But basically it measures waves and signals through the body when the auditor, the person who's helping a person with auditing, they use that to see kind of how they respond to the questions they were asked. In 1954, the first official Scientology building was planted in California, which the second picture on the right, that's the picture of the building in California, in Los Angeles. In the 1960s, celebrity headquarters, which they call celebrity centers, began opening up around. The most popular I saw was in Hollywood, but there are some, of course, around the country. In 1965, Hubbard develops the 7-level organization board, which is, I will touch on later when we get to the hierarchy of the religion, but it's basically the 7 levels of the leadership within the church. In 1980, due to a bunch of criticism and all sorts of just people coming at him from the science community, from the psychology community, from the mental health community, he disappears from public view. He was receiving so much criticism. I don't blame him. In 1986, he passes away, and as I stated before, Miscavige takes over as leader of the religion. And then in 1993, Scientology is declared a religion and receives IRS tax exemptions. There was something that stated it was after a very long investigation. I'm not sure how accurate that is, but whatever. We'll just stick with that. And then as of present, many countries have recognized Scientology as a religion and even allow the church to marry couples. That's actually how Britain recognized it as a religion, as they gave the Church of Scientology the ability to marry couples. And so there has been accusations of fraud. I know a big one was in France. In Germany, it's not really recognized. They don't really like Scientologists over there. But other accusations have arisen over the last 70 years of its existence. As for major branches, I would like to preface this with saying I found one website that had information on this. I could not find anything else, which kind of plays into the whole like stereotype, I think, of Scientology. A lot of people are kind of creeped out by it. And I think this kind of plays into it. So I'll get into it. The only major offshoot that I could find is eductivism, which was founded by Jack Horner. He dubbed it as improved Scientology, and so he developed Dianology, which, if you think about it, Dianetics, Dianology, they kind of play off of each other. Um, the purpose of eductivism was to fully uncover one's potential, as the average person does not know their full potential, whether they tap into it, use it. So the point of this was kind of to reach that higher understanding. It had so minor of an effect that there is literally no extra information on this. I scoured the internet for a picture of Jack Horner. Turns out there is a Jack Horner who is a paleontologist, not the same guy, but that's all I could find when I searched Jack Horner Scientology, Jack Horner eductivism, Jack Horner Dianology. I couldn't find anything. I even looked up like foundations he created. They're not a thing. So that's how minor it was, but it's the only information for this topic that I could find. As for key writings, this religion doesn't have like a Bible or a Quran or a Torah or really anything to point to as like a biblical scripture. Like I said, it is a fairly new religion, so I don't think it would necessarily have that. But based off of the teachings and writings of L. Ron Hubbard, that's kind of where they get, that's their gospel, sort of like that's where they get all of their guidings for living and things like that. Obviously the biggest one, Dianetics, the modern science of mental health. It was the figurehead of the religion. It was kind of the first thing. Excuse me, they even have a holiday to celebrate this book. So that's really important. Within Scientology, they also have something called the green volumes. They also have the red volumes, but maybe I just didn't dig deep enough into it, but I couldn't figure out what it was. But the green volumes, they're organization management course. They're called that due to their green covers, which actually, if you look, the corner of the top right corner, that's what those books are. And then the second picture is actually the cover of the Dianetics, the modern science of mental health book. And then finally, we have the basics, which was Miskiewicz's edition of Hubbard's teachings. So basically they went through and they found a bunch of errors within his books. I don't really know how it worked. I don't know what errors it was referring to. But basically they went through, they edited his books, his teachings, and then combined them all, including his lectures, into a huge book for members to receive and read in chronological order. They also had to turn in like their old books to receive this book, and that's kind of the thing that you get now when you go to when you become a Scientologist. That's where you get your information from. A quote from L. Ron Hubbard says, with Scientology, he can get better and he can get kinder and more decent and more tolerant of his fellow man. And perhaps some of the basic goals of religions of the past can be attained with Scientology. I included that in there because I wasn't really able to find information on any of his lectures or speeches or talks. So I thought including a quote would be a really good addition to this slide. As for the religious hierarchy, like I said earlier, in 1965, Hubbard developed the 7-division organization board, or org board. They really like to shorten organization to org, those Scientologists. So the first division of the 7-division org board is the Hubbard Communications Office, which keeps the church running literally. They appoint new leaders, oversee a lot of things. Then the second division is the dissemination division. It's responsible for the dissemination or the spread of the religion through mailing and magazines. They put their stuff in church bookstores. They basically inform the public of the religion, give them information. Then the third division is the treasury. This is all things financial, because even churches have to keep track of their finances. They do bookkeeping, fundraising, pay the bills, keep the lights on, that sort of thing. The fourth division is the technical division. They are responsible for the auditing process and the training of the members. So they kind of help with, helping the members rise through the ranks and things like that. And then the auditing, the removing of the engrams, which are the negative experiences. Then the fifth one is the qualifications division. Essentially the trainers for the staff. They're kind of like the disciplinarians when it comes to if a trainer or excuse me, not trainer, if a member of the staff is behaving in a non-spiritual way or committing wrong behavior, that's kind of who they go to fix that and train them. It sounded very negative. It was very vague. On the website that I got this from, it was very vague, and it was almost like you don't want this to happen, like just follow the rules, which I'm not surprised. But they also do issue certificates for those who have risen through the ranks, and they're the qualifications division, so they are qualified to qualify people. The sixth division is the public division. They are responsible for church services and public outreach. So every Sunday, the church service, but then also reaching out to schools and doing talks and organizations and donations and all of that stuff. That's what they do. Kind of like the face of Scientology, I would say. And then the seventh division, the most important, is the executive division, the executive division, which is responsible for government relations and upper management relations. And it's headed by the executive director, which is probably like the big guy, like top head honcho. So to the right, this is a representation of the divisions. This graph right here, or this kind of image that you see, is pretty much the most used whenever you look up the organization board of Scientology. This is the image you're going to see. Sometimes it's color coded, but I just chose this one. As you can see, each division has 3 branches or departments. And then within each of those, there's 21 subdivisions within those. So lots and lots of roles. For central beliefs, Scientology literally translates to the knowledge of knowing things, or how to know things. According to Scientology.org, I went on their actual website. It was very interesting. I was scared they were going to get my IP address. The 3 fundamental truths that they ascribe to are that 1, man is an immortal spiritual being. 2, his experience extends well beyond a single lifetime. And 3, his capabilities are unlimited, even if not presently realized. So they really ascribe to humans kind of being at their baseline level and then ascending to as much as they can be, even if they don't realize it yet. Other beliefs include thetans, which humans are actually thetans, which are immortal souls trapped on Earth and scrubbed of memories and abilities. They're kind of like, they always have been and they always will be, sort of thing. So they do believe in kind of like a past life thing, kind of just, you want to ascend to become a thetan, basically. They want you to become clear, which is like the ultimate goal of Scientology, which is stripping the mind of engrams, or those negative experiences, through the auditing process in order to become the natural self, which is a thetan. The main goal of Scientology is becoming clear. They also believe that man is basically good, which is different from a lot of, I would say, modern belief systems, that humans are born inherently evil. So they believe, you know what, you come out good, you choose to be good, you are good. It's other things that make you bad, that sort of thing. They also do not believe in a supreme being or a God. I did see something that said that Hubbard wanted the church, Hubbard had a belief in God. I don't know if it was necessarily the Christian God or some other kind of constructed God. I don't know necessarily what that meant, but he wanted his church to find their own conclusion about God. And so if that means they don't believe or they do, it's kind of up to them. And then they have something called the Sea Org, which is basically these people get on a boat, like the one pictured on the screen, and they sign a 1 billion-year contract to commit to the church and serve, which from the outside sounds weird. But on the inside, these thetans, these humans that are thetans, they're immortal souls. And so they always have been and always will be, which means a 1 billion-year contract just means you're basically committing to the church, and you're going to serve the church and love the church and be the church. So within the religion, it does make sense. Like, it sounds like something that makes sense. On the outside, it doesn't. But all that being said, those are the central beliefs of Scientology. For rituals and practices, I already talked about auditing, but I will say it again. It's the process of clearing engrams, or negative energies and experiences, from the mind to seek becoming clear. I already touched on that a lot. But then they also have something called silent births, which Tom Cruise actually had to come and speak out about this, because people were kind of like, oh, well, the mom has to be silent. The mother the person giving birth has to be silent. Not true. It's not silenced by the mother, but by those surroundings, so as to spare the baby from scarring. So, such as nurses, telling the woman to push, or you're doing such a great job, things like that. None of that. No screaming, none of that. And actually, Kelly Preston, the wife of John Travolta, who's pictured to the right, she performed a silent birth and stated, I believe it was their son Benjamin, stated that the process made her children calmer, and she's seen, really good behavior from them. Very interesting. And then they also have a naming ceremony which is when children are welcomed into the church. I believe this is similar to the Christian value of baby dedication. At least that's what I kind of gained from it. So yeah. As for festivals and holidays, they celebrate Hubbard's birthday, which is March 13th, very similar to Christmas. Jesus' birthday, December 25th, except March 13th actually was Hubbard's birthday. They also celebrate the date of publication for Dianetics, the Science of Mental Health, which is May 9th. On the second Sunday in September every year, they celebrate Auditors Day, which is just celebration of all the auditors within the church who are helping these people to really, become clear and become, their idealized self. And then they celebrate New Year's Eve, December 31st. A pretty normal holiday. To celebrate, the church holds celebrations that are televised and played over and over worldwide. To the right, you can see this is a picture from their 2020 celebration, at New Year's Eve for 2020. And they were celebrating a new decade, new things to come. And as you can see, it's very packed in there, but it's also very ornate and lots of lights, and it's very put together. Lots of money definitely goes into that. So there we go. This is the festival/holiday video. I'm pretty sure it's actually a ritual, but there's that. And these are my works cited. So yeah.